Hi everyone, welcome to Life Tips by Ning. In today's video, I'm sharing the explanation for the 36th hexagram in I-Ching called Darkening of the Light. So based on this image of the hexagram, the external triagram is Earth and the internal triagram is fire. So fire represents light, the sunshine. It's clearly telling us that the sunshine is submerged under the earth. So it's extreme darkness is the dark of the night. It's simplifying a very chaotic, misfortunate state, like a period of time that either a incapable or lack of ethic person is in charge, or is chaotic, is nothing is in order, nothing is following justice. So it's a very unfavorable time. During this time, what should a person do to preserve oneself? That's the wisdom and teaching of this hexagram. It's teaching us that don't be so silly to fight head on directly because you will lose. You're too small compared to this big general trend. So the smart thing to do is to preserve yourself through concealing your talent so that you're not attracting jealousy or invoking any type of harm because people are jealous of your talent. You need to hide yourself, conceal under a blanket, kind of try to blend in. But deep down, your inner self, keep the light, keep your moral standard and your principles. But externally, how you interact with those chaotic people or evil people in charge is to follow the yin lines principle, is following them, being reserved, not fighting like a yang energy to fight directly. So it's all about concealing one's talent to kind of preserve your strength without getting harmed. And while going through this dark period of the time, just have the patience to wait it out. Eventually, when the time change, then it's your time to take action and do some positive endeavor. But right now, preserve your energy, hide. Do not attract attention from showing off your talent and showing your true self. And this whole line from the first to sixth is actually based on the historic context of when I-Ching was written in the Zhou dynasty. The dynasty preceding the Zhou dynasty is called Shang, right? And the last king in charge of that Shang dynasty is a very evil person who's lacking moral standard. He will kill for the sake of his own self-interest. He doesn't really care about the citizens in his kingdom. So that's kind of the context of how the story was written. It's signifying in his reign of that dark time, people are all suffering, and what should you do to survive? So the first line, this is a person who's kind of maybe a common citizen, not a person higher up in the chain to like maybe have detachment issues. This is somebody who's super intelligent. He's smart enough to recognize the initial signs that this kingdom is falling because it's under wrong leadership. This person in charge is not a respectful person. I can see the signs of it, and I'm also in a position low enough that it's easy for me to go away, to detach, rather than like maybe a person with a high official ranking. They have a harder time to separate from maybe a high pay or a high authority or social status, whatever. But this person, he's able to recognize the timing so quickly and then take swift action to disengage, detach, go away. Because of that quick wit and wisdom to retreat quickly, he's able to protect himself from further harm. And the line description is like, you're like a bird. If we observe nature, we know that birds typically fly back to their nest during the sunset time, but before it totally turns dark. So they it's a good analogy, simplifying that recognize the right timing and retreat before it goes completely dark. And it also say that while it's retreating, the bird is smart enough to kind of fly under the radar rather than flaying the wing like super proudly to track attention. It's flying under the radar, is trying to conceal and not getting any attention. That's how you can successfully escape. The second line is actually the story of the writer of I-Ching. He was a kind of a township leader under this evil king, but he got injured because the king was jealous of his respect people had for this person. So he just imprisoned him for no good cause. Because of that, it's simplifying. If you land on the second line, you will initially encounter injury, harm, hurt, like suffering. You will be damaged somehow. Some sort of a damage or loss will incur through no fault of your own. But the end result is positive because this is the middle one. You can stick with it. You're not confronting or fighting with the person with power. You're preserving yourself. You're concealing your talent and trying to hide, to preserve. Because that smart wisdom of the right strategic approach of retreat, help will eventually come and save you and free you from the imprisonment. And that's really what happened in like based on historic books. And the fun part is the line also mentioned horse. It says a great horse will come along to save you. Like after injury, it will pull you out of a hole or pull you out of a trap to save you and then bring you to freedom. So horse can be interpreted as like, if you learn the Bazi series, right? Horse is the year of this fire energy. So any year or like the 10-year trend in your life, year or month landing with this horse, which is called 无火, like fire in Chinese. That's when you can turn your bad fortune around, and that's a really prime time for you to be saved. So it's something to relate it with that fire or horse energy. The third line, this is the historic story of a general from the Zhou dynasty, the later Zhou dynasty, right? Just they got fed up with this evil king's craziness and chaotic reign. So they decided to attack and fight him. And because of the fight is for the right cause, it bring big success, and they were able to overturn his kingdom. So it's because he's striking at the root of that oppression, he was able to gain success. And another tiny implication is something about the direction of south is very favorable. Not only because Li, this fire triagram, it itself is positioned in the directional in the I-Ching basic 8 triagram at the south direction. So simplifying is the extreme of that fire energy, fire simplifying south. So if you venture into the south or going to the southern direction, you will be able to gain more support and better favored timing. But another reason is this general is actually from the northwest region of China, and this evil king, it was more in the central southern called Henan province in China right now. So the attacking direction is from north to south. So if you're invading to the south, going to the southern direction, you will win a lot of big success. But the caution here is not just striking for the right cause, it's saying do not repeat it again. Once you gain desired result, back off and go back to your hiding concealment mode. Because if you keep on repeating it and doing it more than once, that will incur less desirable outcome, because it's against this wisdom of concealment, hiding your talent. Doing it once for the right reason is supported, but don't keep on repeating it, because you're still kind of in this chaotic and things are not back to order yet. The fourth one, this is calling like a person kind of in higher order of that kingdom. Not the ultimate person in charge, but a fairly powerful position at the fourth. But this person is so smart enough to see through the challenges, the chaos, and I'm losing faith in my leader because I see through all this bluff and bigness and see through his real intent and motive behind the behavior or directions. So because of my smart discernment, I'm able to sever myself, like cut the tie. I'm not going to be related to you. I'm going to voluntarily quit, escape, run away. But during that process, you might incur blame, you might incur entangled struggles, but in the end, keep on hiding, keep on retreating, going out, leaving the current situation will be the best course of action. This fifth one is somebody called Jizi. He was the uncle of this evil king. So in that case, it was his own country, it was his own family who's doing all this harm. In the goodness of his heart, he cannot take the same course of action of escaping, running away, retreat, right? Because he feels this sense of obligation to save his country and help his people. That's why he stayed. But while he stayed, he's not gonna tell the truth, give honest, sincere feedback to the king, because if he do so, he'll be killed. He will incur anger. That's why he's pretending to be mad and crazy after he made the king mad so that he can save his own life. But this type of person with such a high moral standard and intelligence, he's able to cover it all up by pretending to be crazy in the time of darkness, so that he can preserve himself and until this general is able to kind of kill the king, right? The new time will come. Then that's his time to shine. He's able to give out advice, wisdom, and guidance to the new kingdom for it to be settled and the startup to be more successful. So this is simplifying that this person is going to preserve your inner intelligence and smartness through external humility so that you can wait for the right time. Last but not least, this is the evil king himself. It's simplifying the ultimate darkness of the night. It's horrible, it's chaotic, it's dangerous. It's a lot of evil traits associated with it. But in this case, you will incur ultimate peril and danger for yourself. Eventually, he got kind of fight by this general from a neighboring country. That's why his dynasty got overtaken by the new Zhou dynasty. But it also had this connotation of something from awesome to awful. Because if you're a king, you were born in the royal family, you have all this talent, wealth, support, social highness standard, right? What a great beginning to start with. But this person, unfortunately, he didn't recognize the right approach, the right moral standard. He ended up using all of his talent in the wrong places to serve his own self-interest. Because of this wrongdoing of usage, he turned something so great at the beginning into a gigantic failure and kind of killing his own life, his own kingdom, his own empire because of that. So it has this connotation of something start at a really high place but eventually decline quickly because you're not following the road of the light, the truth. You kind of fall into the darkness and losing your way. So that's the overall explanation of the 36 hexagram. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.